Hey there, welcome back to another video. So this time we're going to review another Tecware product that is still within that $60 budget. So there's a problem right now when it comes to like building PCs. Cases are way too big for their own good. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of negative spaces in most like computer cases out there like ATX and MATX that are not being utilized, and in my opinion just a waste of desk space. So we're talking about today about small form factor or ITX cases. Generally, these things are very expensive, going as far as $130 to $500. For a smaller case, that's insane. You're not getting a lot of materials for the amount that you're paying for, but they're still gonna charge you $200. Like I said in the previous video, I think that's unfair. So through the power of capitalism and of course Chinese people making more things accessible to lesser budgeted people, today we're going to talk about the Tecware Fusion. Now, just a disclaimer, just to give you guys a heads up, I don't necessarily have the Tecware Fusion. What I have here is their original or OEM version, which was the Kuzao IM Sama 04. God, what a name, but I'm gonna put it right here what the actual name is. But just to give you guys a heads up, the difference between the Tecware Fusion and then the Kuzao is that the Kuzao had dust filters all over its panels, while the Tecware Fusion, as far as I've heard, doesn't have that. So if you're concerned about that, like you have pets or something, or the room is really dusty like mine, then go for the Kuzao. If you're somewhere in the Philippines, I'm going to leave a link down in the description so that you guys can like check it out or something. So let's start about the first and very best thing about this case. This case is $60, again, just like the keyboard. So for $60, you're going to get a case that can house normal MATX parts and a full-size ATX PSU, and you're getting smaller form factor. Now, technically, this case is around like 18.6 liters, and that's riding along the edge of being an ITX, really. I wouldn't even go as far as calling this an ITX, and this is more like a small form factor case. It's not an ITX where it's very portable, but at the same time it doesn't take too much desk space and it's not very annoying to look at. The Tecware Fusion has removable side panels, like all 6 of them. So that includes like the top, bottom, 2 sides, and then the front and the back. They're all removable, making this case very easy to work on. I would even go as far as saying that this case was easier to build in compared to my MATX cases in the past. One of the good things about this case is that it comes with its own vertical GPU bracket. So if you're like kind of person who wants to like latch your GPU on that like position, you just need to buy a riser cable, and that's also something that we need to address about. This doesn't have a riser cable, so if that's your thing, you have to buy it yourself. But other than that, it's pretty much a complete package. You get all the screws that you need, which is I'm going to show you. Just give me a sec. You get this kit, like every screws and zip ties that you would need would be in here. It's insane amount of value for $60. Then let's talk about the front panel. So the front panel has the power button, the 2 LED for the HDD, and then your reset button. And then there's 2 USB ports. They're both USB 3.0, a headphone jack, and a microphone jack. What I like about the front panel is that they're functional, clean, and minimalistic. No fuss, no mess. Another great thing about the Tecware Fusion is that all the 4 panels from top, bottom, and the 2 sides are perforated. It has a lot of holes, so airflow will never be a problem in this case. In fact, there's a lot of things and configurations that you can do in this case, especially if you're using ITX parts. And what I found that particularly works for me is I would put a fan using the GPU vertical bracket right here, and then I would put 2 fans on the bottom of my case facing, pulling air into the GPU, so that way I have better temps. And then that's pretty much it. I only use 3 fans, but you can definitely add more if you want to. So what are the things that you need to look out for when you're going to buy this case using MATX parts? Well, for starters, depending on the dimensions of your MATX motherboard, you might have some problems plugging in those like little prong things, like those things that sticks out, those are really difficult to put on if you're using the same configuration as I am and you're using the same like dimensions as my motherboard. Also, another problem that I encountered is I wasn't able to use the USB ports in the front of my front panel because my motherboard was too long, and if I use my fans and with my GPU, it wasn't really going to let me. So I just decided I won't not use the USB ports in front, which honestly it's not really that much of a bother. So another thing you need to look out for, and if you're very particular about this, is the build quality. This case is not perfect. There are gonna be some panels where it's not really flush with the framing of the case, so there's like a little gap that you would see, but honestly, since just like on the side of my table, it doesn't really bother me. But if you're really particular about that, then that is something that you really need to look out for. But overall, there's not gonna be a lot of complaints, at least in my opinion, for $60 for a small form factor case that can house MATX parts and an ATX PSU. And I'm gonna say it again, that's insane value for $60. Tecware has been really killing it when it comes to like giving gamers those really budget options while not compromising their build quality. As I've said in the Tecware B6A video, it was almost a perfect keyboard for starters, and for people that are wanting to get into the ITX scene but doesn't really have the budget for it, then Tecware has given us the Tecware Fusion, and if you're really interested, please go buy it. The stocks in this case are getting very few. So if this video inspires you to build an ITX or a small form factor case, please buy the Tecware Fusion. And if that's not an option, you can always go for the Kuzao ITX Kuzao. Just buy the Kuzao. If you're somewhere in Singapore or Chinese or somewhere that has access to Taobao, go for it. But for my Filipino folks out there, I'm going to leave a link in the description for the Kuzao as well. Tecware Fusion, budget case, no complaints here again, $60. What more can you ask for? So there we go, my third video. I hope you guys like the quality. I bought another mic, that way I could record my this talking heads better, and that's something that I would really recommend to other people that want to start off YouTube. If you want to have really good quality when it comes to like your videos, it's better to invest in a really good microphone.